Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert's Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, WWE Money in the Bank History and Best Matches. This is the 12th pay-per-view in the trilogy of Money in the Bank. There's been 11 previous shows, 81 matches, 62 men, 19 women. During those pay-per-views of Money in the Bank, there's been 41 title matches, 30 men, and 11 women. Overall, since the Money in the Bank began, we have had 24 Money in the Bank briefcases. Now, when it comes to the women's, I'm only counting 3. I'm discounting the 1 because technically there's been 4 women briefcases. The first one was on Money in the Bank when James Ellsworth climbed the ladder, dropped the case to Carmella. That match was thrown out. They had a rematch that almost legit the same thing happened that they counted. So I'm only counting 3 of them. So 24 Money in the Bank briefcases. The men's, 21. 17 have been cashed in for titles. There's been 4 losses. On the women's, there's been 3 cashed in for titles and 3 title wins. So overall, 20 of the 24 briefcases have been cashed in and won a title. Now, who's held the briefcase the longest? For the men, it's been number 5, comes from 2011. Daniel Bryan, 154 days. Number 4 from 2020, Otis had it 168 days. Not including when Otis lost it to The Miz, and The Miz cashed in. I think The Miz had it an additional 119 days before he cashed in. So Otis had it for 168. He's the initial winner of it. Number 3 comes from 2012. Dolph Ziggler had it 267 days. Number 2 comes from 2014. Seth Rollins had it 273 days. And the longest man to hold it was Edge, the first one in 2005. He held it 280 days. Now, who's held it the least? Number 5 comes from 2011. Alberto Del Rio, who's talking about making a comeback, held it 28 days. Number 4 comes from 2020. John Cena held it for 8 days. Number 3 comes from 2010. Jack Swagger held it for 5 days. Technically 5 days. He won it on a Sunday. He came out to cash it in on Monday, did not. Ended up cashing in on Tuesday on SmackDown, but SmackDown was tape delayed until Friday. Dean Ambrose in 2016 cashed it in the same night, 57 minutes. And the shortest man to hold the Money in the briefcase was 2010. Kane held it for 49 minutes. Now, the briefcase has changed hands on two instances. In 2007, Mr. Kennedy held the title for 36 days, ended up losing the title on Raw on 5/7 of 2007. Edge cashed in on SmackDown on that Tuesday, and that aired on Friday. In 2020, Otis held it 193 days, lost it to The Miz at Hell in a Cell. The Miz held it 119 days and cashed in at TLC. And then was given it back because John Morrison cashed it in for him. The Miz didn't technically cash it in, and then he was given it back for some stupid, unknown, retarded reason, and The Miz ended up cashing in personally at Elimination Chamber. The 4 men to lose the title match, lose the cash in. John Cena, he did not win the match. He won the match by disqualification, but the title cannot change hand on disqualification in 2012. In 2014, Damian Sandow just straight up lost. 2017, Baron Corbin just straight up lost. What's the point? 2018, Braun Strowman won it. He ended up cashing in at a show, saying this is when I'm going to do it. The match at the show, the pay-per-view, ended up in a no contest. Now, CM Punk is the only man to win 2 Money in the Bank briefcases. And that's not a stat you're going to hear on WWE television because they're not talking about CM Punk. Edge actually has 2 cash-ins as well. The one he won, and he won the match. Same way with The Miz. The Miz has cashed in twice. He won the match versus Otis, and he won the Money in the Bank. Now, the most Money in the Bank appearances is Kofi Kingston with no wins, 7 appearances. Kane has been in 7 Money in the Bank matches, but he also won one. Christian was in 6, never won any. Dolph Ziggler was in 6 and won one. Shelton Benjamin and Chris Jericho both were in 5, no wins. Randy Orton was in 5, but he also has a win. Chris Jericho is credited with creating the Money in the Bank. Wonder how much they're paying him for royalties, even though he's over in AEW, but yet his idea is still going on and they're using it. Wonder how that works out legally. Now, the 10 best Money in the Bank matches. Some of you may agree with these, some of you may not. Number 10 on the list comes from 2006, the one that RVD won. I gave the match itself 4-star. Number 9 comes from 2012, the one Dolph Ziggler won. I gave the match 4-star. Number 8 comes from 2011, the one Daniel Bryan won. I gave it 4-star. Now, right now, there's also talk of Daniel Bryan going to All Elite Wrestling. I don't know how I feel about that. I like the idea to a point. I'm just getting tired of anytime one of these former WWE people go to AEW, they're, oh, WWE made them. No, WWE didn't make these people. Tommy End with Malachi Black was made as Tommy End, pre-WWE. Miro, I guess you would say he was WWE made. Christian was WWE made. John Moxley was not WWE made. He was John Moxley before he was WWE. Chris Jericho was made before there was using WWE. So, number 7 on the list comes in 2010. The Miz, the one he won, I give it 4-star. Number 6 was I believe it was the second women's one in 2018, the one that Alexa Bliss won. I ended up giving that match 4-star. Number 5 comes from 2007, the one Mr. Kennedy won, and then lost to Edge. I give that 4.25. Number 4 comes from 2016, Dean Ambrose's win. I gave it 4.25. Number 3, 2013, that Randy Orton won. I gave it 4.5. Number 2 from 2005, the first one, the one that Edge won. I gave it 4.5. And then number 1 on my list from 2014, the one that Seth Rollins won. I gave it 4.5 as well. Now, at the actual pay-per-view itself, the best women's matches and best men's matches. On the women's side, number 10 comes from 2020. It was SmackDown Women's title, champion Bayley versus Tamina. Bayley getting the victory. I gave it 1.5 star. Number 9 from 2014. It was for the Divas title. It was Paige versus Naomi. Paige retained her title in a 1.5 star match. Number 8 comes from 2010. It was for the WWE Women's Championship. It was champion Layla versus Kelly Kelly. Layla defended her title, and I gave it 1.5. Also from 2010 for the Divas title, champion Alicia Fox versus Eve Torres. Alicia Fox retained her title. I give it 1.5. Number 6 comes from 2015 for the Divas title, champion Nikki Bella versus Paige. Nikki Bella got the victory. I gave it 1.75. Number 5 comes from 2019 for the SmackDown Women's title. I had champion Bayley versus Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair ended up getting the victory. It was a really short match. It was just kind of a their match. Charlotte Flair winning, and I ended up giving it 2.5. Number 4 comes from 2016. It was a women's tag match. It was Natalya and Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair and Dana Brooke. Charlotte Flair and Dana Brooke getting the victory. I gave it 2.5. Number 3 comes from 2020 for the Raw Women's title. Champion Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans. Becky Lynch ended up getting the victory, and I gave it 2.75 star. Is that 2020 or is that 2019? I may have got the year wrong on that one. I'm a little curious now because, let's see here. Did I get the year wrong on that one? Because I didn't think if that Becky was already gone by. And that's got to be 2019 because Becky was already gone at 2020. Yeah. Yeah, Becky and Lacey was at 2019. It was Lacey and Becky. And Becky also lost her SmackDown title to Charlotte that night. Okay, yeah. So the Becky Charlotte was 2019 for the SmackDown title. I gave that 2.5, and it was Becky Charlotte was 6 minutes. Becky and Lacey was 8 minutes because they were literally back-to-back matches that night. And then Bayley cashed in on Charlotte. So that was 2019. So 2019 was 3. Lacey and Becky. Becky retaining. And then Becky and Charlotte from 2019 for the SmackDown Women's title was 2.5 with 5. So number 2 on the list comes from 2018. It was the Raw Women's title. It was champion Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. Ronda ended up getting the victory via disqualification. And then Bliss came in and cashed in on Ronda. Or cashed in on Nia Jax. And then the best women's match came from 2018 SmackDown Women's title, champion Carmella versus Asuka, 2 3/4 star. Yeah, those women's matches weren't good. Some of the older stuff isn't that good anymore. I mean, it's like when they did the Women's Revolution with Becky and all them hit the main roster, that's when it kind of got good. But there's like a generation of women right there outside the key ones that are kind of like, eh. But I guess you don't want to keep them in NXT longer to make them better. You just throw them up there and see what happens. All right, on the men's side, number 10, 2016, WWE World Title, champion Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins getting the victory in a 3 3/4 star match. Number 15 was for the WWE title, or number 9, sorry, from 2015, WWE title line in a ladder match. We had Seth Rollins as champion defending the title versus Dean Ambrose. Seth Rollins getting the victory in a 4-star match. Number 8 comes from 2018 for the WWE World Title, champion the phenomenal AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. The phenomenal AJ Styles getting the victory in a 4-star classic. Number 7 comes from 2014 is for the WWE title in a ladder match. This was when the title was vacated or vacant, and instead of doing the Money in the Bank, they did a ladder match for it. It was a 8-way ladder match. We had John Cena versus Kane versus Randy Orton, Sheamus, Roman Reigns, Alberto Del Rio, Cesaro, and Baron Corbin. And then John Cena got the victory. They gave it 4-star. Number 6 comes from 2010 for the World Heavyweight title, champion Rey Mysterio versus Jack Swagger. Mysterio retaining his title in a 4-star match. Number 5 comes from 2019. Right after Kofi Mania, the Universal title on the line, Kevin Owens versus champion Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston retaining his title, 4 1/4 star match. Number 4 comes from 2012 for the WWE title in a no disqualification match with special referee AJ Lee. We had champion CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan. CM Punk getting the victory in a 4 1/4 star match. Number 2 comes from 2015. Number 3 comes from 2016. We had AJ Styles versus John Cena. AJ getting the victory in a 4 1/4 star match. Now number 2 from 2015. We had John Cena versus Kevin Owens. Kevin and John Cena getting the victory in a 4.5 star match. Now, the number 1 match in Money in the Bank history happened 10 years ago, 2011. In Chicago, we had champion John Cena versus Chicago-made Second City Saint, best in the world, CM Punk. Stipulation on this match was if Punk wins, John Cena gets fired. Punk's contract was supposedly up. He said right after the pipe bomb, he said if he wins the title, he is leaving WWE with the title. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. He won the title from John Cena that night. I've rewatched the match. I watched it live, but I've also rewatched it. I gave it 5-star. Punk winning, taking the title, leaving the building with the title, running down the street literally with the title. WWE created the title, added the title, vacated it. Mysterio versus John Cena. Ended up being Punk signed and came back, part of the storyline. They had 2 world champions. Like they had 200 Continental champions at WrestleMania 10. We had a ladder match for the Unified Champion, which I think Cena won or Punk. I can't remember who won that. I didn't write that down. But, and then, yeah, the whole Punk storyline with the pipe bomb and everything. I just don't understand why WWE did not run more with Punk. I mean, he's a storyteller. He makes you believe what he's saying. Heel, face, whatever. People buy into it. That was just the way he could tell a story is unbelievable. Love for Punk to come back eventually, but I mean, he's been soured on wrestling because of everything. But you know what? We have the memories. We can go on Peacock and we can watch what CM Punk was able to do in the previous. Someday, maybe he'll come back. Some maybe he won't. But that is the best of Money in the Bank. Definitely stay tuned to Robert Sports Show for the preview of Money in the Bank, for the preview of Slammiversary, and for the preview of Warrior Wrestling. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports content.